All right, let me fix this. Beautiful. Welcome, everyone. It is Wednesday. It's 4:30 p.m. Central Time. It's time for the office hours here on the ViaMonstra Academy. I'm Johan, Andrew is Andrew, and let's get going, shall we? One cannot simply have a month or weekly hour without a proper intro in the beginning. That's simply the rules of engagement.
I agree.
Anyhow, Andrew, how are things?
Oh, not too bad. I've got my Arnold Palmer polo on today. I'm celebrating the warm and sunny weather here in Northern Illinois. I'm very excited for that. So that has lifted my spirits this week.
All right, I went all cloud, as you can see.
That's all right. That's good.
Yeah.
Good.
All right. So what's going on in our little area of the world?
As usual, the news and links never stop. So I came across a few things over the last week that I thought were just worth a share. Some articles, a couple of announcements. First thing here on my list is Microsoft posted a short article that the Windows driver and firmware updates that we've talked about quite a bit here on Office Hours is coming soon to Intune. So we've kind of known for a while that this integration was eventually going to happen. There are no firm dates that I've found in this article, but there was some new information in here in that this will be integrating with AutoPatch and allow you to either automatically update drivers based on what AutoPatch and the drivers and firmware updates solution have available, or manually. So I thought that was pretty cool. And the fact that we're getting some posts about it now hopefully means that we're going to see this here sooner rather than later. Johan, I know you're very much looking forward to this integration as well to see how this plays out.
You bet. Yeah, I've been managing it with PowerShell for a while now, but it would be nice to get the real integration going.
Definitely. Sure. I think there's going to be a lot of excited people once this comes out. So fingers crossed. Hopefully we'll see this soon. It'll be a fun new toy. Came across article from our friend Gary Blok. Posted a blog post based on a session that he and Mike Terrell did at MMS a couple of weeks ago. Basically, a couple of methods on debugging and troubleshooting, doing things like running PowerShell scripts in a task sequence. So I wanted to make sure this got out there as well.
The dogs are terribly upset about something. I'll be right back.
Sounds good. I'll continue sharing news. All right. I also came across a tweet from somebody. I apologize. I wish I remembered who tweeted it, but it was just really a reference for we've shared here on the office hours and in a lot of the trainings that we do. We point towards the what's new in Intune page. So if we go here, what's new in Intune, this page kind of shows what's upcoming and what has rolled out with Intune over the course of the last several months, going back, all the way at least to September of last year. Anyways, what I saw tweeted out earlier this week was that there is a similar URL for Microsoft Entra and Azure Active Directory. So if you go to this page here, it's going to show you what changes have rolled out or are in the process of rolling out for those services. So definitely going to be adding this to the list of things that I'm regularly reviewing because so many of the things that we do now integrate so closely with Azure Active Directory. I mean, we're using it every day. So important to know what's coming up and changing there. Get the dogs taken care of.
Yeah, they try their best to scare the living out of a poor messenger guy delivering a new door to us.
Poor guy.
Yeah.
Oh. All right. I also came across this post from David Brook and Steve Beaumont. They blogged about a topic surrounding Graph API and Power BI integrations. They spoke about this at MMS as well a couple of weeks ago, and then released a blog a few days back on this. So this looks pretty cool. This is on my list of ever-growing list of things to try out. Anywhere we like options on how we can gather and visualize data and reports. So anything that we can do for more options there, I think is a great thing. So excellent contribution here. And then just a couple of couple more quick things that I came across that I think might be build related. At least this one is. Windows 11 getting native support for 7-zip, RAR, and GZ archives was pretty cool news. I'll take. I love the 7-zip application, but I'll take native integration absolutely. I'm sure the application will still have plenty more things that we can't do in the OS itself, but this was welcome news. And finally, something that I always like to share with you, Johan, when we get an announcement or new release, ZoomIt version 7 came out.
There you go. Yes,
it
of
had
course.
snipping, cropping and snipping in version 7. So, very cool stuff.
I better upgrade. Brooks Pepper gave me some hard time at MMS for not keeping my Zoom updated across all my 100-some demo machines. So, of course, obviously, that needs to be addressed with with the new version.
Well, it's probably deserved. You've kind of carved out being well known for having ZoomIt on everything. So I'll look forward to you having ZoomIt 7 on all of your boxes. Maybe
Yes, sir.
Friday night you can do that.
Yeah, I'll do my best. There's a script for that. I'm sure of it.
Mm-hmm.
Can be deployed.
That's right.
All right. So there were a few things that I stumbled across. First of all, from the build conference, or announced at the build conference, was Copilot coming to Windows. They announced earlier for Office and Teams and a few others, but let's see if I can get a screen shared here somewhat correctly. Have that here. Close off that one and lighten up this one. This one looks good to me. This was the announcement that they're adding in basically better AI into Windows. You can ask for things there, and it'll be very interesting to see what this is taking the lead the next year or so here. So I thought it was a cool announcement. I want to mention it. Other than that, both Microsoft Ignite and Microsoft Build, they have a kind of a nice feature. I think it's a nice feature. Every time they will announce a book of news that they usually sent out for review early on internally, but then they will publish it out for everyone. And this one came live, I noticed, some point this morning. But this, of course, is if you want to read up on what's going on, that would be a good starting point as well. So highly recommend that one. And of course, the sessions are running now. If you aren't attending Build, I highly recommend to catch at least a few sessions, see what's going on. At the very least, the keynote sessions, because that's what you get sort of the broad picture about what's going on at the moment. So yeah, that's what I had in terms of news.
Very cool.
Do we have any questions coming in? They usually do, but I didn't see any at the moment.
Nope, nothing I've seen so far.
Gonna go ahead over. Yeah.
Everybody out paying attention to Build right now.
That could be the reason, of course. gonna dive into the LinkedIn session real quick and see if it's just forwarding of the messages that are not happening or if it's actually just no questions at the moment. I mean, it can happen. It's rare, but it can happen. Mm-hmm. No, nothing yet that I see. See a good few people live, but nobody with any questions. Well, it does give me the opportunity to talk a little bit about a blog post I was working on some point last Sunday or late Sunday, some point this weekend. I've been meaning to blog about this forever, but I just forgot about it, and then I finally came to mind that that is a little known trick for those of you running ConfigMgr. Because every now and then, when you deploy things through sequences, you may find that the client stops and whines about, hey, the hash value is not correct, etc. And the workaround is fairly simple. You figure out what package it is, and you figure out what distribution point it was trying to talk to, and you go to that package and you update the distribution point, and you wait an hour, and then you try again. But it turns out that when you generate standalone media in ConfigMgr, so let me show you here. Here, if I pick one of my sequences, I have a few. This one, for example, a Windows 11 deployment sequence. This one is referencing a bunch of packages, not too many, but say that I want to verify that those packages are okay. What I can do to do that is right-click and do a create a sequence media. I will pick a standalone media, which is the default option, and I will point it to an unlimited ISO file, store that ISO file somewhere, and next, finish in the wizard. And this one will do the same type of validation of the packages, but obviously on the server side. But it's only on a per DP selection where you go through this wizard, you will pick your sequence. I will pick my Windows 11 one here again that I had. This one. You can add additional apps, additional packages, and additional drive packages, but I can also select the distribution point where I want to use when I create this media here. Now, this is fun to do for the first 10 sequences. Go through this wizard and select and select and select. But as usual, pretty much everything you can do in the console and more, you can do through PowerShell. So I published a little PowerShell script that you run that generates that media. So if you want, you can simply have a task, or you run this every now and then to generate a media. And if this fails, you also know that your deployment fails or would fail. But this allows you to check things on the server side without having to wait an hour or half an hour just to go and deploy a machine or deploy a virtual machine or something like that. So just a little friendly tip on using PowerShell to validate content that are used for imaging.
Pretty clever.
Oh, thank you. All right. Anything else coming in?
Nothing so far. I've got YouTube open and LinkedIn.
Well, it's kind of hard to go head to head against I don't know how many $1 million they spend on Bill, but I'm guessing it's a few.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have a pretty high quality production here, but that's a different level.
Yeah, fun fact: I was in basically a demo organization selling like video production systems, I figured, all right, that could be a cool way to expand on how we do videos and what on the academy, and also for this show here. And I found this amazing software where you can have a LED wall behind you, and they will basically integrate with VR and allow you to basically have other feeds coming in. So it would look like you were in a Olympic studio for the Olympic Games or something like that. But you were basically having a green screen behind you or a LED wall behind you that was integrated with it.
Wow.
I'm just missing the few $1 million it cost to actually buy it, but it was very, very cool.
Yeah, that sounds like a pretty cool technology.
That was quite amazing. They apparently use it for ESPN and some other larger productions. are like amazed on what they can do.
Oh, wow.
Could be basically a lion walking by, but of course it wouldn't be a real lion. It would appear to be one. But yeah.
I think if we had something like that, we'd have to probably combine studios, sort of like the talking heads on a sports announcers or something like that.
Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah, based on the backdrop here. All right. I don't see any other. I don't see any questions at all coming in, which is a quite rare event. But we will give folks a few minutes. If there's anything that we can answer, we'll happily will.
That sounds good.
It's quite relaxing Wednesday after all. Usually we've been put into hard work, but heck.
They're taking it easy on us today.
Yeah, I'm not complaining.
Well, it does look like so you especially have long talked about proactive remediations being under reports, endpoint analytics. Proactive remediations in the Intune admin center is kind of a interesting place to put those.
Do we have something up on your screen there?
Yeah, I can show what we've got right now. Yep.
Yeah. All right, give me a moment. Here we are.
So right now, if you want to access proactive remediations, you go to reports, endpoint analytics, proactive remediations. And one of us may have shared this announcement over the last couple of weeks, but it does sound like finally with the 2305 Intune release, which I would guess we should be seeing any day here because we've only got a week left in May. Proactive remediations are going to be available just under devices, which I think makes a little bit more sense. And then in the June release, Microsoft has announced that it will be removed from reports endpoint analytics. So,
yeah, that is good.
At least then we won't be so surprised when our muscle memory sends us there and
it took me forever to learn that path because it was not very intuitive at all.
Yeah.
Did you mention when I was? Did you mention Stefan's Q&A or question from the field regarding the universal update?
No, I did not actually.
Then we shall, because that one turned out to be quite shiny. For those of you that struggled a little bit now in the month of May with the new type of Windows 11 updates, one of the Microsoft folks over in Germany, Stefan Roll, he put together a remarkably detailed, or very detailed, blog post on how this works and how you can verify that the packages are, etc., and how you can spot the hard links that are being created. So even though it may look like your packet is like 18 gigs, it's really not 18 gigs. It's the initial 10 that was downloaded, but it's hard linked, so it looks to be more than it really is on the file system. So if you guys haven't had the chance to review this link, I would highly recommend to go through it. Me and Phil at 2Point, we did give Stefan a hard time, starting to ask, okay, how can we peer this content effectively? So we set him out to do some tests this week that he promised he would return back with the results. So this was obviously intended for the delivery optimization and Windows Updates for Business initially, but for all of those folks that are using ConfigMgr, it's not really that platform or delivery optimization that downloads it. There is a proxy in between, and it's actually bits kicking in. So very interesting to see how that played out now with peering and this type of platform, because it's actually a good chunk of data that if you can use peer-to-peer for it, the better, or the more the better. So good stuff. Highly recommended.
Yeah, that's great. That's not a small amount of data, I would say.
Well, luckily the client doesn't download all of that. It's just
Sure.
what goes out to the DP. But that's the good news. Dum-dum-dum. I was checking my feed real quick. Don't see anything coming in. Got a question is that it was not live on YouTube. That was interesting. I could explain it.
No, I've got it up.
On YouTube?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. That was interesting.
Says it's about 24 minutes in.
Yeah, it definitely looks like it. Yeah, it's live. Interesting. I blame technology.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, let's see. Comment on LinkedIn. Yeah, there we go.
Finally,
Yeah,
the keynote probably ended at build.
right.
Yeah.
All right. So Diego's asking on YouTube, do you know or have implemented SCCM with high availability?
Well, I reviewed it. I don't like it, so I stopped using it. That's the short version. What I found for the high availability stuff in ConfigMgr is that it's causing you more grief that it's supposed there to save you from.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. I don't like that configuration at all. For me, simplicity is more important. To have a single site server, to have a local SQL database for performance, and if something goes bad, restore the backup, because you can do that fairly quickly. The moment you start with playing around with all these high availability options like SQL clusters and remote content library, remote SQL databases, and you often find that you're spending way more time troubleshooting that and having downtime because of that than the high availability was supposed to give you. For most ConfigMgr customers, with obviously a few exceptions, they won't even notice if the site server goes down for an hour or two. Okay, they cannot deploy apps during that time frame, they cannot deploy images or updates during that time frame, but it doesn't impact any visible things on the clients. So that's all that there is to it. So maybe not the answer you were hoping for, Diego, who's asking the question here, but I don't think it's worth the work or worth the effort to implement the high availability options in ConfigMgr. I think it's more important to have a good and performant site server and a simple design than try to make it as complicated as you possibly could or can. I saw a comment here on LinkedIn from this Andrew Johnson fellow saying hello. I wonder who that might be.
What a gentleman. He's got great manners.
Well, at least he said hi. All right. Since the question started, any other questions? We'll be happy to answer.
Just extended our time a little bit here.
Yeah, heck yeah. We have 31 minutes to go, so I'm hoping for no more messengers today. Well, let's give folks another minute, and if not, we will simply call it a day and go out in the sun.
Sounds good.
I have 4 horses. We just expanded our herd with another one. Giving me the stare. Where is dinner? That's the combined wording.
Right on time. 5 o'clock, come feed me, please.
Yeah. It's amazing how they learn habits and just, oh, it is that time of the day. Food. I have been eating the entire day, but in the evening give them grain, and that's like dessert. It's just
Okay.
apparently very sweet. Anyhow, that was a story question coming in. Quite the jump from horses, but the story for business ending. Any take on that question, Andrew?
No, so store for business is being deprecated, has really already started to be, and they're not Intune managed yet. What's the best way to integrate Winget into ConfigMgr OSD? So with the new store integration, the old store for business integration that we had in ConfigMgr now no longer exists, essentially. I thought that there was, can't think of what, but I thought there was maybe a blog post or something that somebody did on just using Winget command line as maybe a command line step in a task sequence or something like that.
I remember seeing something from Panu, the Finnish MVP, on how to run Winget through command line in ConfigMgr, but I haven't seen any work done for imaging, or it could very well be that you can simply do that in the sequence.
Okay.
Something I would like to point out here, it's actually not the store itself that is changing, because the new store is the same as the old store. It's just that the front end to it is changing. And for example, in the Intune case, Intune is not using the Winget command line options to install applications from Intune or store apps from Intune, they are just using the same libraries as the command line tools are also using. So it's more like a framework of libraries that are being in play here to do that. So you just different tools to call these libraries and have things being installed on the client. Were you able to find anything there?
No, really, all I've found is the. I mean, we can still pull this up. It's really just the command line reference for using winget. This is probably where I would start to see if this works. So this is just the official Microsoft doc on using winget itself, which you may already have, but this is what I'm coming up with at the moment.
All
So
right.
there's some references here to do, some scripting and things like that. This may be helpful. I'll make sure to throw this in the links for this evening.
That sounds like a plan. I'd like to say we did share Pano Street in one of the earlier office hours. At the moment. If I had an email sent out, maybe because we upload them to the site every week. I only found the one to the winget GUI and the reboot issues. Nope, did not find it.
So I did find an article. I'll preface this with untested from our perspective, but I did find an article that actually suggests, which I did not know, winget is not a functional part of Windows 10 or 11 version 21H2 or 22H2 after the initial install. The app updater, Microsoft Store app updater, needs to run and make it available for use.
Okay.
So down here, this article is just titled "Using winget and Chocolatey with MDT," but you may be able to tailor this for ConfigMgr if this is something that you want to test. Basically, it comes with a small PowerShell script to trigger the store updater and wait until winget is the correct version before exiting, and then you would have access to winget.
That sounds promising because the MDT sequence is just a standalone version of the config menu sequence, and in fact, still being, or when it was being developed, it was written by the config manager team. Haven't been any updates of late, but it is that sequence engine. All right, good find.
Mike Galvin. I didn't find his name here right on the article itself, but
Oh yeah, he has done published some. I've seen some posts from him in the past. Some good stuff.
cool. Well, make sure we get this posted as well. Looks promising, like you said.
All right. Thank you, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions out there? Still at 23 minutes to go. Well, no more questions as it seems. So I think we will call it a day. I know you will be out. Was it next week and the week after?
Yes.
All
Yes,
right.
yes. So
So
I'll miss everybody, but I will be taking a vacation.
well deserved. Well deserved.
Thank you.
I'll try to hold the fort as best as I can.
Oh, I'm pretty confident it'll be okay.
All right.
Everyone will be in good hands.
Someone calls crying. It might be me.
All right.
All right, but thank you everyone for joining today, and thank you for the questions that came in there. And I hope to see you again next week while Andrew is on vacation. Have a good one, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. See you in a few weeks.